Alright, hey everybody, how's it going? What I wanted to do was make a quick video today about some of the propaganda that I've been seeing going on in the news lately. I've been flipping through AM radio stations here in where I'm currently staying, and you know, it's just constantly propaganda after propaganda after propaganda. First of all, I heard somebody talking about the Patriot Act earlier today, and they were like, somebody who's called in, they said, I don't know if I feel comfortable with the NSA listening to me. And then the guys basically said, well, if we need to have people listening in on conversations between us and Saudi Arabia with a certain individual and certain words are being picked up by computers, then we can start listening. And then he kind of, you know, soft pedaled it by going, well, you know, do we want to give up some of our rights, or do we want to surrender, you know, a little bit of, you know, our freedoms? And then he basically wrote off the rest of what was being said there. The thing about what I'm trying to say here is that, first of all, there's 10,000. These are multi-billion-dollar facilities dedicated to just listening to phone conversations across the United States. They're not just going to screen through with electronics and then maybe occasionally listen into some telephone conversations when they have tens of thousands of people listening. There's tens of thousands of people listening to people all across the United States right now. If you have a brain and you know which way is up from down, you're probably being listened to by somebody all the time, not a computer. I'll just give you an example. One time somebody came over my speakers in my room and asked me who was I talking to, and if that gives you any idea, I mean, and that's fairly easy to say that wasn't a computer, you know, that incidentally caused that to happen. There was somebody listening to me. Sounded like some kid, maybe 20 years old. Anyways, I don't even want to talk about it. I'm so pissed off right now. But then they constantly have propaganda about marijuana. This is really what I was wanting to talk about. And part of what I know there's some information that comes out of Edward Snowden, you know, like a waterfall of information that just falls out of this guy, similar to the Bradley Manning situation. And Julian Assange, who didn't release any information, he's simply a journalist, and that's actually setting a precedent, because they say, well, what about the leaks? He didn't leak anything. He's a journalist, and so that's. And then they ask, well, why didn't they go after the New York Times? Because it's all a game that's being rolled out. The New York Times, everything's bought and paid for. I mean, not like humans bought and paid for it, but literally they own it. And anyways, the point of what I'm trying to say here is that I mean, there's so much to talk about here. I mean, the problem is that I can't just take one talking point that I hear on the radio and play off of it and give side points. I have to first address the fact that every single thing that's being said is a lie, completely opposite of what truth is, and then go into how they actually plan on using this against you, and hope that I may reach somebody with enough information to hopefully stop something from happening. And that's not a very good chance. But I'm just one person out here doing small things. But anyways, the point is okay, so anyway, so it's a nightmare, but all the people on radio talk about it, how marijuana is, you know, okay, I'll list off 3 names right now: Sean Hannity, Mike Savage, and Mark Levin. And I know Bill O'Reilly's doing it, but I don't even listen to him. All talking about, you know, how, you know, legalizing, not even legalizing, but to remove from your list of targets a plant which has mild psychoactive properties. And I'm not. It's just it's bizarre, is what it is. Because what's going to happen is after this is all over with, people are going to look back and say, "What the hell?" They're going to be. It's going to be like the Diary of Anne Frank, if you can find a journal from somebody who's had to go through this stuff. That's what I'm trying to say. This is worse than the Salem witch trials. When I ask, man, it's just, oh. And when I ask questions about, the war on drugs, and I always put it under mythology and folklore. I mean, it's a small point. It's just, oh man, it's crazy. It's crazy. I mean, people get used to this, and so I've read so much information that I can't even understand it anymore. But beyond the fact that it's just a plant, I mean, once you get past all the whole facade of propaganda and lies and brainwashing and all this, you suddenly realize, wow, how they worked really, really hard to make me believe that, because they had to, because it's so far-fetched. It's so far-fetched.